Hi. That's my dramatic intro. Hi, guy. Hi, and welcome back to Eric's TBD RPG. It's a special session today for our fundraising drive in our 2-year anniversary of the Twitch channel. So welcome.
Woo! Yeah!
Welcome critters and Whovians and crafters and new folk and just Team Human and everybody out there. Welcome. Before I launch into complaining about the death of my voice, I would be remiss if I didn't pause and acknowledge the suffering of others. Most of us got to go home and sleep last night. The Twitch crew did not. They stayed here and they've been working an excessive amount of hours. It has convinced me that they are all Cylons. They are all Cylons.
But they have a plan, and that's good.
They have a plan. Yes. So before we launch into it, I have a rap that I'm going to be doing today. A little song here.
I'm so excited.
It's a note. Oh, it says, Eric, no, you're not Sam Riegel. Who wrote that? Oh, I wrote that. Okay. Thank you, me. All right, so the note is...
That's the Robotuzzle.
The note is, if we make $500 in donations on this show, which will be over the next 2 hours. We're going to go the full 2 hours, even though we lost some time in the setup? I don't know. We might. I don't know. We'll see. But over the... whatever Lord Saxon, the chief, and everybody says.
We don't know how much time you have.
Yeah, we don't know how much time you have, so donate now. But I defer to the exhausted Twitch crew. I follow their lead on this. But if we make $500 in donations on this show, we'll give away this pack of signed comics from Miss Jody. Woo! You can see here. Get a nice thing. We're going to give those away, along with a signed note from our entire cast today. A signed thank you, and possibly some death threats, considering that a Centauran will be signing it. But they will be charming as hell. You'll be grateful. And we're also going to be giving away separately two of these wicked awesome mugs that has the names of all our shows on it that you guys watch.
I love those mugs.
These are so cool.
I want one.
Yeah, I know. I get all sappy and emo when I look at these mugs.
Same.
It's such a privilege to have a show that's listed on this and to be a part of all of this. It's pretty crazy.
Is it the plain white text on black that makes you emo?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep.
I just want to start playing The Cure and like put on the Crow makeup and
Yes.
start. But yeah, so we're
I'm
giving
really
that
good
away.
at putting on crow makeup for people, so just letting you know.
I was Eric
am I not
Eric Draven. I was Eric Draven on Halloween for like 7 years in a row.
Yep.
I'm just, like,
And the rest
wrapping
of the year in
myself
between.
What's that?
And the rest of the year in between.
That's yeah.
The other thing I just remembered, it's really hard to
Because
take off. So just,
it is hard to get off, but I mean, it's like
They just tear it.
everyone kept associating me with Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid, and then all of a sudden the crow hit the stands, and I was like, done. There I am.
You were mad about being Prince Eric?
I mean, yeah, because I was like, I was one of those stupid kids that that was going through that sort of.
You poor thing. They told you the movies weren't for you.
Yeah, it was. I'm from South Texas, so if you admitted that you liked Disney, everyone would be like, "Are you a man?" And that's what I grew up with. So that was
Oh,
not.
that's so sad.
Thankfully, I got over that when I turned 16 because I was introduced to a group of friends who were almost all women, and they taught me how to play D&D and Magic the Gathering and Vampire the Masquerade. And they even tried to get me into the Star Trek card game, but that one didn't stick. We're playing an RPG today, right?
Yes, we are.
Sorry.
No, we're just hanging out.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
just
Eric's
chilling.
friends. We're so glad you existed.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so, oh man, the ADD is going strong today. I just wanted to start launching into how much I love Moana. I gotta focus on this. Okay. So yeah, before we begin, do we want to? Do we have any announcements? Anything else we want to get out before we launch into?
Can I
Well,
have my Sonic back? Oh.
she requires a sonic screwdriver.
Oh, Amy doesn't have her Sonic. Well,
Saxon's on top
the
of
show,
it.
guys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
thanks for coming anyway.
Yeah, it was good.
It's
we're
not an
go-
announcement. I was just going to shout out that Gil made it for us, and then I realized I didn't have
What
it.
were you gonna say,
sorry.
Matt?
I was gonna say after this stream, some of the Critical Role folks will be playing Mansions of Madness.
I'm so jealous.
So stick around after this as well
That
for
game
more
is
chaos.
so much fun.
Especially the new edition. I don't have to be keeper this time. I get to actually play.
know.
Which
Oh,
makes
thank
me
you.
happy. Oh, it's on an app now,
Okay.
which is right.
All right. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, the new Mentions of Madness is so awesome.
My arm is complete again.
Thank you, Sax.
Go back to yesterday.
All right. Well, because the lifespan of my voice is on a timer, we'll go ahead and launch into the game.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, no. There's one last thing I have to announce. This is important. We have to give a tip of our hat and a thank you and a big salute to a former script editor of Doctor Who was born today in 1952, Mr. Douglas Adams.
Yes.
Who we all love to death. Happy birthday, sir. You are absolutely still with us every damn day we hold a towel.
And as we come to our own space whale tonight,
Yes.
think of all the other
Exactly.
space whales he travels with in the moment.
Exactly.
Full of petunias.
Yes.
I do want to
Well, so
say
far
that I
it's
am
the better
taking
end.
some,
Hang in the air
shall not
just like
panic.
bricks don't.
Shall not panic.
I am,
Exactly in the manner in which a brick does not.
Right, yeah.
I will, before I launch, and as we launch into the game, I will say that I am taking a somewhat perverse delight in that I am sending Matt up against a giant aquatic creature in space. It feels.
Oh, yeah.
somewhat-
No,
it feels
thanks.
Somewhat poetic.
I guess that
I
is
don't know why.
just desserts, I suppose.
Okay.
And send some love to Duncan. We wish he could be here today.
Yes,
Yeah.
Duncan is at work today, so he can be here with us, which is crummy, but it's okay. It's because Cillian will be he'll be played by he'll pull a Pike today. He's going to be sort of like in the background, and I'll do what I can for Cillian. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Where we last left off, you guys were in the command control room. You just had this big mix. There was a huge shift of power between the two groups. Distrust, then there was a rift, then guns got drawn, and then Meatstick, the very large and threatening-looking Ood, suddenly turned on his former master after realizing that the Doctor was a more powerful master to serve, and which shifted the balance of power completely in the direction of the party, allowing them to disarm what you guys discovered. They're not miners; they're in fact poachers, and that they're here waiting to detonate a bomb, supposedly in the belly of a giant space whale that's headed this way. There's also the mystery of these creatures that you only have just recently discovered that seem sort of tribal in nature, and you don't know if they have a home here or what, but they also clearly are responsible for the deaths of the miners that used to work on this asteroid. Of course, what brought you all here to begin with was the Doctor is tracking down one of three massive rips in space-time, and apparently one of them is here in the center of this asteroid. And thanks to some clairvoyance by Roko Koko, you were actually able to inadvertently uncover it when you were looking for the creatures. You discovered there's a collection of them down below in the belly of this asteroid, towards the bottom, really, on a rocky outcropping. Because this asteroid, as I described before, using the word massive far more times than a writer should ever use a word, this thing has been hollowed out and it goes straight into deep space. There's no like force field protecting it. So it's kind of like that Cloud City effect where you just drop straight down and it just takes you out. But on this rocky outcropping just out of reach was this massive, one of the tears. You saw it through your clairvoyance. The tear is probably the size of a one-story building. It's massive. And the energies are crackling around the rip. It looks like a wound in space-time, in all of reality. And these creatures have gathered near it and are forming like a half circle around it, really. And are locking in arms. And it seems like, what you could tell, it seemed like they were praying, as far as you know. The person who has the most chance of translating, and this would not be uncommon knowledge, the best person of translating what these beings are saying is actually the Ood, who can communicate with practically anything. That is where...
Also, I think you'd said the Dr.
The
Sonic
Sonics.
was starting to translate.
Yeah,
it
the
too.
sonic screwdriver is processing the language and getting down the dialect, the beats, the sounds, and whatnot. It might be a roll to discover if the Sonic will be able to translate for you. Usually the TARDIS matrix is the one that's just bling, but the TARDIS matrix does have a wide area in which it can translate other languages. Might be because of the tear, because it's interfered with the TARDIS many times before, but it doesn't seem to be working here. And that's where we left off. Right now, I believe Finn had just knocked Adric. Oh, you know what? I have to address this real quick because I went back and watched the VOD yesterday. So, Doctor Who fans, hello. There are 60 years of lore, and I've done a really clever thing. I have dodged having to use or dig into that lore by creating my own universe that does not obey the laws of the Doctor Who universe, which is totally Doctor Who, to be honest with you. I had no idea that the name Adric was actually a canon character in Doctor Who and that actually existed. So I just want to tip my hat to all of you Whovians out there that immediately were like, wait, Adric is back? I thought Adric was dead. Like, I tip my hat to all of you guys. I did not know. And so when I was like, oh my God. So I went and looked at the wiki and yep, there's Adric. I was like, okay. So to clarify, guys, because I know I've pulled a lot of rabbits out of the hat for this game, this is not the same Adric. It wasn't the plan to do that. So I apologize to everyone who know. I've done a pretty good job at stepping over lore with this game. But just so to avoid confusion, Adric is like the name Eric. Everyone's been named it at some point, right? So if you believe in reincarnation.
I used to have that name.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
So,
Mitch's
okay.
name is Eric.
Yeah. All right. So back to it then. We begin this game with the walls vibrating from the sounds of that whale off in the distance. The body of Adric is just crumpled to the floor, and Roko, you were coming out of your clairvoyant state from seeing what you've seen, and that is where we begin, where the room has just kind of fallen silent for a second. Is everyone's kind of looking at Roko to find out what they were just doing with themselves. And Zeeps, the fear young Zeeps has been experiencing, you can tell it's now kind of mixed in with some excitement. Like he's kind of feeling it now, like, yeah, I'm on the good guys team. So,
Never goes well.
yeah. Ava, the Ava, who I kind of describe, if you've ever seen Atlantis, The Lost Empire, the Disney cartoon movie, Ava is one of the other members of the squad. I kind of think of her as like, I don't remember her name, but she's the female villain of Atlantis. That sultry
Yes.
blonde who's dangerous as F, and who seemed to take a liking to you, Velig.
Yes.
Yes, she seems to be giving you eyes. You two have flirted, and
Ava, I must admit, I have thought of you in doing intimate things, like polishing a grenade or talking to a very small swan.
she smiles at you and she says, "I too have been thinking about polishing a grenade." And she stares at you.
I do this.
When this exchange happens, you see Zeeps over in the corner. It doesn't take him long, and he goes,
I may look like a potato, but that only means I'm good in the sack. You see, a human potato comes in a sack, you see, Ava. This is what I have learned by my travels in time. Therefore, I have made a humorous observation by stating that I am good in a sack, a potato sack.
I didn't think the Centaurans would be filthy too. Oh my. But if I might
add a story
interrupt,
point.
Doctor.
Story point.
Yeah.
Just gonna add it right there for you.
"Yes, please do, please do." Today's episode of Doctor Who RPG was rated PG-13.
And climbing.
Loath
Okay.
as I am to interfere with any polishing of any ammunitions whatsoever, I do think I've found a bit of. Well, I think it's rather mostly good news.
Roko, have you?
Yes, so I took a bit of a clairvoyant look around, and I found where the tear is. The
Oh,
tear in
fantastic.
space-time. It might have company of the lovely 9-foot jackal folk.
How
Um,
many?
More than one.
Oh.
More like 12. But they were around it and praying, which means they're not immediately preying upon us. And that's very good, isn't it?
Not as good as my potato, but I'll give you that. It was clever.
Well done, all.
I couldn't possibly
Wait,
comment.
praying to the tear?
Around it, that could be 2, that could be 4, that all sorts of prepositions, really.
The Hollow was talking about they had a god. Do you think that
I wonder how long the Tear's been here.
Are they trying to protect it?
Let's find out, shall we?
Yes. So it's rather at the base of the asteroid. The shaft kind of opens up into space a little bit, so you won't be claustrophobic anymore, dear. There'll be all of open space right there. It'll be lovely.
Great.
When's the good news?
Nobody's trying to kill us immediately.
I'm looking around the room.
The moment Roko immediately says that tagline, you're like,
Right, are we all on board with our new plan then, which is fix the rip, save the whale, get out of here, and none of you destroy any indigenous species?
Sounds good to me.
Master Doctor, would you like me to procure my previous master and use him as a bludgeoning instrument?
First of all, please just the doctor.
Of course, Master Doctor.
Oh, okay. Right. I don't wish any further harm to come to him at this time. I feel you're probably more than capable of bludgeoning on your own, but unless we are distinctly threatened, I'd rather not bludgeon anyone at all.
still, Ava pipes in. You have to admit, that would be incredibly entertaining to see.
Yeah, I don't mind.
That would be awful. We mustn't do it.
Also, is Adric's rifle still lying on the ground? That he
No,
dropped?
it's being held by a Centauran right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There is, by the way, I will say this.
Both that guy. This is fantastic.
Velig, human weapons, one of the things that's dissatisfying to them, dissatisfying about them, is they make this like firecracker noise when they shoot. It's anticlimactic. Plus, they don't weigh much. It does.
But Finn has mine.
Yeah, exactly.
I do.
It's good to be armed again, but it doesn't. You miss having a cannon in your. You know what I mean?
Perhaps a trade might be. Finn, my mind is churning with thought butter. Perhaps you and I
God,
could
that's
trade
don't
weapons.
ever say that again. What?
Perhaps we could trade weapons. Like a potato in a sack gives one weapon to
Oh,
another.
right. Okay. If you stop talking, I'll trade your guns, okay?
Finn, I'd rather you kept that one, actually, rather for the moment.
I mean, he's got a gun.
He does.
And this one, I can't really move my arm and I kind of need it.
All right, everyone's got guns. Fine. If you could just not use them, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Here you are. Hello, cool blue steel.
What did you name this weapon again?
Cool blue steel.
No, I think you had like a. I think you wrote it down on your character sheet actually.
Me did too, and thought it was cool blue steel.
Is
There's
it
a
not
lot
cool
of
blue
stuff
steel?
written down here.
I wrote Centauran
Let's
right.
just say,
If it's cool blue steel, that works for me.
let's call it that.
Okay,
Either
cool
that
blue
or
steel.
Becky.
All right. Yeah, feeling the weight.
Ammo.
Feeling the weight of
Becky
that.
with 2 C's and an I, for those of you taking notes.
And the eyes a little heart.
Yes.
Stop.
Got click.
Feeling the weight of that weapon back into that meaty fist of yours, you feel completed the moment it slides into your arm. Just
Ava.
Oh, I regret.
they're giving each other looks. Everybody can see. Ava's. Yeah. Anyway, so they're
Zeeps,
they're
close
definitely.
your eyes. Just don't look at it.
Again, the walls just hum. They thrum with the
Master Doctor,
distance.
I sense the approximate location of the whale in question is rather close. We should perhaps be on our way.
I think that's very wise. Also, just the doctor, please. Thank you.
Of course, Master Doctor.
Let's get on our way. Literally anything is better than watching you all trade your guns around.
Quite so.
So there are two. Aside from because you guys are in the command center. So to your left and your right, there are doors leading out into the mining complex facility itself. And as I described before, beyond the window is the huge cavern, this massive cavernous space. It's about a kilometer across, where you can see little puffballs of light. They look kind of like, the way it does when it's sort of like a fog and you see distant like a lighthouse. There's little bitty lines of light. Looks like this is what they were illuminating the entire mine shaft with for the mining purposes. So when you restored power, these things shot all back on. So there's kind of this eerie like glow to this yawning cavern that goes straight down into the void of space. And there are 2 doors to your left and right. Go ahead and make. I think this is going to be our roll of the game again. Our awareness and resolve, or awareness presence. Wait,
Everybody?
everyone? It was awareness resolve. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, everyone.
That is our traditional check.
Ooh, would any bonuses apply to this, or just awareness resolve?
If you have any kind of trait that gives you like extra perception.
Unless feel the turn of the universe applies.
18.
8. Okay, that's pretty good for your guy, isn't
13.
it? Okay.
18.
19.
Okay.
16.
Okay. You all did very well.
14.
Except you.
Doctor,
For the most
get it
part,
together.
for the most part, you guys also notice that these light sources, they're also connected to very familiar looking brass staffs that have been smashed to the ground. If you remember correctly, when you guys were walking in, those atmospheric creators, which are basically these massive, again, the word massive, they're like brass, they look like brass pillars, essentially, made of technology like wires and whatnot wrapping around, and in the center of them is this glass tube that has this congealed and churning blue liquid that's emanating all of this energy that creates atmosphere around it. And it looks like it has a large radius, and you're spotting all of these like shoved into the walls all around this cavern. Yeah. So there's a chance there's atmosphere when you open these doors.
Well, one of those the doors we came back through, or are there 2 other exits?
There's 2 other. So when you walked in, there's a door to your left and your right, and it looks like they lead out into the mining complex itself. But right now, y'all are in the central control room, kind of looking down and around. That's everything about it.
Master Doctor, which path shall we take?
Roko, did you get a sense of which way we should go? Also, just the doctor, thank you.
Master Doctor, yes.
I have marked down path down the center.
Yeah,
have
that
any
was really with
additional-
your clairvoyance. That was all you were really able to get.
I couldn't really say quite, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Would this be a place where I can feel the turn of the universe to take a guess, or?
You can feel the turn of the universe, for sure, but it wouldn't help you locate necessarily where to go. What you are feeling is that
Which way's the tear? Okay.
the thing is the tear is so massive, and that the effect that it's having in the surrounding space-time, it's kind of like being too close to a loudspeaker. You really can't tell necessarily which direction, if it's, you know what I mean? Like it's,
Right.
if you're like surrounded, it's like being surrounded by a wall of speakers, basically.
Yeah.
You're not really sure.
Right, well, let's just pick one then, shall we?
Well, I do know if there were 12 of those indigenous folk here, they're quite large and they might have distinctive footprints. The footprints don't go away. Do we see any of those? Maybe they've trafficked through while, killing miners and things like that.
I would say that's an awareness ingenuity check.
Well done.
If you want to check that. Actually, if you have survival, I'll let you use awareness survival.
I would be okay if it were an awareness ingenuity check. That would be just fine.
Okay, I'll let you do that. Go for it.
All right, 11, 20.
20. Well, here in the control room that you're in, there's a lot of footprints on the ground, but it's only, I shouldn't say they're footprints, but they're marked by the sand that's been scattered across the metal floor. There's really no way to see anything through here. In the hallway behind you guys, as you were walking in, if you remember that the soil kind of gradually turned into like the metal plating that led into this room. You do see some footprints, but it's kind of hard to make them out. Not only in the dim lighting, but you guys kind of trampled coming through here. So nothing that immediately stands out.
Oh, it was worth a try to take a bit of a look around. I couldn't find anything with it, so I suppose, yes, we'd really rather just
It's a fantastic thought, though. Everyone keep an eye out. So I didn't notice the things that indicate that there's atmosphere on the other sides of these doors.
I'm sorry?
I didn't notice the things that indicate that there's atmosphere on the other sides of these doors.
I mean, no, you haven't seen them, so you're kind of
Are they on both? Are they for both doors?
well, you would see them. It looks like they're
through
placed
the-
all throughout the complex, but to your eyes, as you were looking around because of the roll, you're just seeing the light. That you can't see past the glare of the lighting fixtures because
Yeah.
they're having that fog effect around them from the distance and whatnot.
Right, well, we'll want to make sure it's safe to go down here. I don't know if the atmosphere's still working.
One more thought. Is there a schematic in the central computer where you found the hologram?
That's a fantastic idea.
Ta-da! That's a ingenuity technology roll.
Thank God.
Oh, no,
Your worst
Doctor.
roll,
However
Amy.
shall you make that?
Right, does the tech adept apply here?
Yeah, I'll let.
13, 15,
The computer again is in bad shape, but I'm sure you'll be able to nail this.
21.
21 is the difficulty.
Oh, yeesh.
So yes, but so this is what you discover as you're kind of punching through the keys and you're seeing all these corrupted data files come up. You see a schematic come up giving a power output, letting you know exactly where the energy is going. The station here, run on solar power, seems like it's activated just fine, but you're seeing failures all throughout the complex itself, which means that there's a chance, if you're not careful where you're walking, you might cross into a zone where there is an atmosphere being created. But it's hard to say from looking at you're just aware that there's probably some failures in a few of these life support staffs that have been jammed into the rock face.
And are there any sort of paths indicated? Can I see a layout?
With that roll, I would say nothing. With the data corruption that you're seeing in the file, you probably aren't going to be able to find anything that's going to help you with that. You get the basic idea that when you leave this room in the immediate area, they're on and working well. But things get a little fuzzier as you get deeper into the complex.
Right, can I tell which way leads to the center?
Judging by what you're seeing in the schematic, if you went either way, it would take you down, 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 down. It's almost like uranium mining, where it just kind of spirals towards the bottom.
Master Doctor, I can take point if you'd like.
I will appreciate that, although I value your safety as well. Let's try not to have any of us hurt or hurt anyone else, shall we?
Indeed, and of course, as a Centauran, we are cloned to fight in low atmosphere. It would not affect me, I believe.
Ready? Ava, Drat, Zeeps, you're all with us?
Ava says, well, you've blown my payday, so now I just want to get out of here alive.
Allow me to cry over your loss.
Well, I haven't lost yet. I'm still alive.
Lift up Andric's unconscious body.
He's just slumped in your meaty hand. Just
Yeah, I throw it over my shoulder. Come, former master. Sleep well.
I follow along behind Meatstick and I grab Adric's mouth and go, yes, I will. I shall follow you. Lead this way. Ha, ha. Sondarans are wonderful.
You know what? I'm starting to like this one.
Just a bit
For a
careful
plastic
though.
one.
Let's go right.
Zeeps is trying not to laugh. Brecker, by the way, who's remained very quiet.
You stay behind me. You don't got a gun, do you?
Zeeps, are you trying to protect him from the GM?
Yes. Do you have a gun? Do you have a weapon?
Zeeps, we need you. Give all your armor to Zeeps. Give all your life support and everything.
He's staying behind
We
me.
cannot let our endeared extra die.
He starts running, I grab him by the collar and just, no, you stay back here, son.
Zeeps doesn't have a weapon now.
Yeah, no, he's staying behind me.
Oh, okay. Zeeps is like, sure, yeah,
Okay.
I can do that.
Don't go doing anything foolish, and by foolish I mean
Brennick, Brennick and Drep, who have been completely quiet
Give me that
this
one.
whole time, they finally pipe up and go, sorry, what did you want us to do?
Try not to make anything any worse, and we'll try to get you off this planet.
If it's all right with you, would you mind if we went back to our ship and tried to repair it?
I'm afraid I don't particularly trust any of you. You've all pulled guns on us.
Well, you got those now, though, don't you?
To be fair, Master Doctor, they won't be going anywhere without us.
Their ship is disabled currently.
And the less people we have in this endeavor, the less chance there is of them dying in the process.
Unless the space whale gets us, we don't really have much time. And I guess they should take a crack at trying to get off this asteroid.
All right.
At that
Did you
point,
check if they've got
Brennick
any
says,
weapons they're hiding?
I have a solution to the space
Yep.
whale. I'm just saying, and I know you're not going to like this, I'm just saying that if things don't work out, we still have...
I'm going to break the machine.
Okay, you smash your hand down into the console. Brennick doesn't finish this sentence. He's just, all right, yeah.
It is a good thing we are not on Sontar at the moment. It is just about time for the annual Krill Parade. I mean the annual Krill Parade.
As someone who worked at an aquarium for a year who was constantly like
Yes.
elbows deep in krill, I'm trying to imagine what a krill parade would look like.
A nightmare.
Very entertaining.
Feel like a flea circus.
Yes. We keep whales away from it though.
We
Indeed.
little top hats. We little top hats.
It was part of my training was to fashion the little top hats for the many, 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 many krill.
I want to go to the libraries of Sontar.
Yeah.
It's one of the holy
They
relics.
sound amazing.
Zeep says, "What do you want to do about that, though?" And he points at the satchel that he had on his side.
Oh, isn't that what you just
Oh, I
said?
thought she broke it.
I think I did actually smash it. I rather
Oh.
hope I haven't killed us all.
Oh, you're gonna try to smash it?
Yeah, that's what she just
Oh, I thought you were
That's what
smashing
she
a
did.
control. I didn't know you were smashing the bomb. I'm
No.
sorry.
The atmosphere. No.
Okay.
This is where the campaign ends, guys.
Oh my god.
like Sonic.
I'm gonna step on this bomb.
So as you raise your fist to smash it,
Somebody stepped up the bomb.
instinctively, the next thing that happens is Meat Stick, you turn and stiffen immediately, seeing what's about to happen. It's like a brace for impact kind of thing. But Zeeps is close enough where he throws himself over the satchel just as you're about to smash it in anger, and he goes, "No, no, 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 no,
Right,
What?
not a good move then.
no. This is a I forget how it's pronounced. A tetriatachyon bomb.
Oh,
It disintegrates living flesh, and it's activated by pressure activation.
oh, you told me it hadn't been armed yet. I didn't.
It hasn't, but it's usually best not to punch them or drop them or.
Right, let's break it then, shall we? In a more
Yeah.
orderly way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He pulls it out. It is an ominous looking device. It looks like a metal bowl that's just been turned over. And it just kind of slides out. It could almost be a helmet for a Sontaran. And you just kind of pull this up. It's this glossy, sheer, just, you can see just inside of this metal. It's just barely translucent where you can see the inner workings. Some of it looks like it has a bubbling fluid on the inside of it with the blinking lights. It looks like an insidious device.
Well, I've no need of this thing, so I'll at least scan it and see if I can disable it.
Oh, you're Sonic, yeah. Yeah, I'm not even gonna. Why don't you go ahead and you know what? You
I
know
will spend
what?
a Sonic story
You
point
know
to
what?
render the
You know
signal
what?
to
I'm
the
gonna be a jerk. You know what? Let's see. So go ahead and make your technology and ingenuity roll.
Can I assist on this one again?
Are you interested in preventing the bomb from being shut off?
Probably. I am standing right here, so yes.
Amy is just dying for evidence that you're the master. She's just dying for it. She just
Yeah,
wants.
she hasn't asked.
I asked if we were.
At one point, she's just gonna flip a
Curious.
table and be like, "All right, I can't take it anymore. Are you the master?" All right.
I don't even know what you like in this universe.
We'll find out.
If you want to assist, you'll need the doctor's permission.
Do you want some assistance with that?
I think I'll take care of this one. Thank you. But I'm going to spend one of the Sonic story points,
Okay.
which I'm assuming have refreshed since I
Yeah.
can spend when you.
Yeah, I'll give those back to you. All right. This bomb has a story point, and I'm spending it.
What?
Yeah. All right. Make your roll, doctor.
Could I borrow some of these dice?
Oh.
All right. So my base ingenuity technology is 13, 14, 15.
Roll well. I got some TARDISes on my roll.
Sure, you don't want assistance with that.
No, we're
think
doing
late.
it.
Breaking
It's already-
The roll is coming.
Base 15. I've got 4 dice, and I've got more points if I need to bump up my level of success.
Tell me what you got.
Mostly good.
Good.
10, 16, 17 plus 15 is 20. Oh my god.
32.
Thank you. 32. What?
By 1. I thought for sure I had you on that one. 'Cause 30 is the highest target number I can throw at you, and this is a contested roll, and I got a 31.
I hate blasty things.
It wouldn't have been a destruction. It would have been an arming kind of situation. But basically, as you're scanning this, you hear, and it looks like it's powering up, and then it goes, and the light goes blink, turns off.
Just check that this is it inert now. Can it not be
You've
rearmed?
completely disabled it. It's likely that this will never be armed again. However, the liquid inside, just from scanning it with the sonic, you've seen this before, and it's not unusual to see military tech scavenged from battlefields and stuff like that. But you've seen this before. It's a chemical substance that the Daleks liked to use when they were using chemical warfare on some of their initial attacks against the Time Lords. It's the best way of describing it is it's a necrotic energy. Basically, it would think of it like speaking from D&D terms, this would be like casting Cloud Kill on a planet. So it's bad. Leaving all things that are not everything that's inorganic would be fine. But if this had gone off inside of, say, a whale, it would have liquefied its insides and made it incredibly easy to harvest everything else. It would have been the perfect way to kill a gargantuan creature in space.
The next person who suggests. Anyway, that's done.
Yeah. You just disarmed a weapon of mass destruction. Well done.
Did we go then?
Yeah, that was a bit of a rush. I'm ready to go.
Who needs a monster when all you need to do is disarm a WMD, right, guys?
Yeah.
All right.
Can I keep it?
Right there, there's bloody purchase. Yes,
Which-
Lloyd?
Which
That's
door?
the best. That is the most signature question from your character. You guys didn't hear what Velik just said. He just
Can
said
I keep it?
Absolutely, under no circumstances.
it's like wanting to adopt a puppy. You're like,
Yes.
it doesn't have a home now.
It doesn't. It could be called Cool Blue Steel Jr.
Right. Silly, and if you
Duncan
could just keep
popped
an
into
eye
my
on
phone,
that,
by the way, to
please.
confirm.
Yeah.
that
Do you
Connor's
want me
name's
to
Blue
stay
Jack.
here? Do you want me to go?
Blue Death. Blue Death. Cool Blue Steel Blue Death.
Blue Death.
Blue Death.
Blue Death. That's what it
Thank
was.
Blue Death.
He's in chat.
To be fair, that is the most meddlesome Tarn helmet you can have. It's one that could annihilate everything on a planet.
Yes.
Let's go before the space boat gets us all.
Yeah. Something if you could just look after that.
Yeah, I'll stay here, but sorry, Duncan, I'm butchering your accent even more because it's now you I'm playing. But he says, yeah, no,
I'd rather not leave you behind. I just want.
if you want me to, Doctor, whatever you want me to do.
I just don't want anyone else getting their hands on it. It's,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah, I could say, you know what, if you want to leave Zeeps with me, because then I wouldn't be alone and he wouldn't be going into danger, and I can see that Finn is attached to big sister kind of thing. Totally, Mr. Zeeps. Am I right? I'm perceptive.
Don't embarrass the lad.
I'm perceptive for an electrician. I have to be.
Perceptive for any species.
Zeeps just goes, yeah, sure, I don't really want to run into those jackal things. We'll look after it.
It'll be quite.
I was lugging it around this whole time. I'll make sure nobody touches it.
Goodbye. I will miss you most of all. I am talking to the bomb.
Oh. I was like, that's an ominous thing to say to Zeeps. Okay. The bomb just gives a Galadriel goodbye. Just farewell. Okay, yeah. So everybody's set now. And
Yeah.
oh, real quick, I wasn't clear. What are you doing with Drep and Brennick? Are you going to let them go back to the ship?
But now that Cillian and Zeeps are going off on their own, I don't love the idea of them wandering around.
Is that what you just gave over
They
there?
could overpower.
Well, Brennick says, look, honestly, I'll do what you want me to do since the cards are in your hand. I just thought if one of us got the ship fixed, maybe if things went south, we'd have a better chance of having an escape out of
Where-
here.
Why don't we have
Yeah.
Cillian and Zeeps go back to the TARDIS? That I imagine that is the safest place on this planet right now. And you go fix your ship.
Sure, if you're fine with that.
All right. Can I remotely tell the TARDIS
Yeah,
to let them in?
I think you can. I think the doctor could do something like that, actually.
Just should be able to. I'm checking. I locked it, so I didn't want them to be like, "Cool, we're standing here."
Do you want them to go to the TARDIS or the ship?
Oh no, Zeeps and
Zeeps and Cillian to the
To
TARDIS.
the TARDIS. The other
Oh,
two.
you're gonna send them back to
Other
the
two to
TARDIS.
go
Oh,
fix
okay. All right. Yeah. Celine goes, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. I've always wanted to be the one to introduce. You're gonna love this. And Seeps is just like,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss it. I love that
oh,
part.
what? And he's like, yeah, follow me. We'll be all right.
Have
And-
fun, kid.
And they, the two go off up the tunnels, talking to each other.
Right. Who feels like going through the right-hand door?
Right, it is.
We seem to prefer left for some reason, but right would be fine, I guess.
Did you
Right
say
is-
we get along or not in this world?
We did. We were friends. I told you that. You're the one that said we weren't friends.
Just
Be
refreshing my
rolling.
memory.
Oh no.
Okay.
It goes to the
Oh,
right door
no.
and then just physically attempts to pry it open.
It
Interesting
begins.
fact is in Latin, the word for left is sinister. I learned this in the library. And this is also a truth.
The punctuating the word sinister is the noise of metal bending as this ood grabs the door and forces. It looks like it was starting to open, but Meatstick just slams it into the metal frame. Again, a stark reminder of the power of this creature as his hand just puts that metal door into the frame of this wall here, and you see that eerie glow from the lights stretching out into the tunnels.
Right, good. Do watch out for anyone who didn't notice in the schematic. We don't want to run headlong into any areas without these.
Right, stay in the light. Balak, do you want to go first in case one of these things ain't working?
Of course, as Sontaran say, let's do this.
They say that too.
Can you sense any of the creatures who live here or the tear?
It is more of a close-range sensory ability. I am more used at the front lines in case something aggressive were to come in our vicinity. I will stay behind our Sontaran friend.
An excellent teaming. I approve.
Move quickly, please. Your
Indeed.
legs are quite short.
Thank you for pointing that out. I shall move quickly. I move quicker to impress my new friend.
Every 4 steps of yours is one of Meatstick's as he just
I'm trying for 5. I'm trying for 5. I got a gun. I'm trying for 5.
I gotta tell you, the watching Veleg run is a reminder of the stocky power of what must be the Sontaran infantry, because he doesn't show any signs of having trouble keeping up with Meatstick or slowing down at all, despite the fact he's carrying a 245-pound cannon for a gun. He's just, and you guys move down. So what you see as you get, it takes about maybe like 40 or 50 feet away from the entryway as you all manage to move out into this mine, but suddenly you're confronted with the eerie beauty of this place. The puffballs of light all over the place make it look like there's these distant fireflies on the walls of this cavern that's a mile across. So think of it like if the Grand Canyon was enclosed with a dome and it's going straight down. And if you look down, you can actually see just through the haze the blackness of space. And you can see space with the clarity that you can only see if there was no pollution on a clear night sky. You know, only the clarity you can see is if you were in space where all the stars are completely visible. And because you're on an asteroid, occasionally you will watch like a morphic cloud of a nebula spin by the opening towards the bottom. You do see a lot of rock outcroppings sticking out at the bottom, which could be possible places. But I won't even have you guys roll perception because it's impossible to miss. Probably about a mile down. Even from a mile away in this lighting, the rip presents itself. Doctor, just from looking at it from this distance, you are finally seeing, you're getting an idea of what Rocco was seeing when they came across the rip. From a mile away, to be able to see it with this clarity means it must be the size of a building. It also means, Jody, you also have Turn of the Universe,
Yes.
Is that correct? Does anybody else have Turn of the Universe? Okay, so the two of you innately become aware that this is like moving closer. The best way to describe this is the closer you move towards this thing, the two of you are beginning to realize as Time Lords, the closer you move to this thing, the more dangerous everything is going to get. In other words, remember that reality monster you woke up in the belly of when this game first began? There's a real chance that reality might start to break down and change the rules the closer you get to this thing. Because paradox energy. Also, I'll tell you, you won't even have to roll if you want to make contact through this tear. It's a massive satellite dish, pretty much. And you'd be able to reach out to the other universes if you got close enough.
Yeah. Don't suppose you could try to close that from here?
Getting all the info I can, but I think we might need to be a bit closer.
Master Doctor, how do you presume is our best method of achieving closer proximity?
Right. Does anyone see a path down from here?
Everyone make your... Yeah, do I even need to say it? The awareness... the awareness resolve?
Ingenuity. Or
15.
15.
17.
14.
16.
Team 15.
16.
Why are you staring at me like that?
What?
Did you roll?
17, I think.
Oh, I didn't hear you call it out.
Oh,
I was like, was that a bad roll? You're just
No,
staring
no.
at me like, I was like, geez, Gina. I'm sorry. So what did you get, Amy? 14. No, that's actually that's everyone else will spot it again. Yeah, Doctor, you're not spotting things too well today.
okay.
It takes a minute.
Ingenuity, okay.
It takes a minute, but you guys do see looking around this place to see if you can find a path. You see elevators. These massive, again with the word massive. I'm so self-conscious of it. These huge rails that go the entire length of this cavern, the whole kilometer up and down. It looks like these metal tracks with these very unsafe-looking elevator platforms, probably designed to move the carts and whatnot back and forth for mining.
How many elevators?
There's one on each side of the canyon.
And so we're only near one of them?
You're kind of where you guys are positioned right now. It's equal distance to either one, but you'd have to go back through the command center to get to the other one.
Would we all fit in
How
one?
fast?
You would all sit in. You don't know how fast these things would go.
No, I mean, how fast would it take to go to the other side?
The other way, it would be double the distance. So you would be moving all the way. Well, it'd be about the same. It's just like a few minutes walk, about half a mile
40, 50 feet
to
away.
get to this thing.
I can't imagine these things are quiet, so it's not exactly going to be a stealthy entrance. Is there any way you can sort of sonic the other one to go down so that they both are going down so they don't know which one we're in?
They know we're here.
Your sonic doesn't have
They
that
do
kind of
know we're
range.
here, but they don't know where we are yet.
It's not a bad idea, but it's a bit too far.
Unless you can story point a reason why you could do that.
What kind of
There's a
technology
control
do they run
panel
on?
right there.
What's that?
What kind of technology do they run on?
Like I said, this is probably maybe this is probably spacefaring tech. So
Actually, Jody has a great idea. I would like to spend a story point so there's
Master Control Program.
sorry, I said spacefaring tech, and Siri was like, yes. She calls me Master Control Program. I'm a Tron fan. Get over it. Incom.
Beautiful.
Jody has a great idea. I'd like to spend a story point for there to be a control panel next to the elevator that controls both of them, since you might need to get things up and down remotely.
I'll let you hit 2 story points, and I'll give you that.
Our British consultant points out there would be lifts.
Lifts!
Good point. Lifts.
Thank you, Duncan.
Okay. Yes, it just so happens as you're looking across, you're like, oh wait, no, I can use this over here. It looks like there's a console actually built into the wall that you didn't notice before
Looks
next
like
to
they've
one
been
of the tracks.
designed for you to be able to remotely control them, probably to load cargo more easily.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
What did I miss?
I don't know. There's just giggling happening.
I know.
It happens.
I see
when
Matt and
they're
Amy
happy.
giggling
No,
like
I
school
just,
children.
I just love the idea that as we go through a mining colony, we start realizing, oh, they built this to be like a mining colony. Functional. It's
My God.
great.
They're the most intelligent species.
Look, they actually removed rock from the rock.
They take it to another place? What? Is there a quick
Madness.
inspection I can do this? You mentioned unsafe looking. I'd like to take a quick look, possibly sonic it, see if it looks like it's going to kill us all.
Okay. It takes you a good 10, 15 minutes walking to get there. As you are making your trek, aside from the thudding noises you're hearing from meat sticks, a massive form just chomping through the soil, and the shuffling of the Centaurian behind him. You guys, again, you hear that deep reverberation of a sentient creature in the distance. Causes the entire... It's because you guys are in this cavern, it's the sound waves that are hitting the rock face is actually causing some sound reverberation. So it's actually slightly terrifying to hear. It just... You're just aware that this is a creature that you're hearing off in the distant void of space approaching. When you reach the control panels, sure enough, it looks like an operator's board. Probably the people that were working this mine built this so that they had full functionality over all the elevators so they could coordinate with the other miners coming up and going down. As Matt said, it is a mine designed to be a mine. It doesn't look safe because its lack of use, but it does look like it's functional.
And there are 2 elevators.
And these are big enough to carry all of you down and up with some room to spare. It's big enough for multiple carts and workers to put their stuff on.
Master Doctor, might I suggest that I myself go into one elevator in advance of the other? Therefore, if we call any sort of altercation with the enemies at the bottom, they come to me first and you all could flank from the side.
A diversion, as it were.
That is a correct word, use of the word. Yes,
military
there you are.
plan, indeed.
Meatstick, at that moment, you hear, what? And he's like,
Thank you.
I'm having a great day.
Very welcome.
As long as we can reunite at the bottom, I don't want you to take on any extra risks, and I'd rather not hurt anyone if we can avoid it.
I have my purpose.
I'd also like you to think about if you were to choose a name for yourself, just putting this out there, what would it be? Don't answer now, just think about it.
I will allocate a bit of my personal thought process to a possible new title.
Fantastic!
If you like, I could accompany you in this endeavor.
Perhaps I think you are better used as a guardian to the smaller folk.
Indeed.
I think he's talking about me.
Finn's like, hold up 1 second.
I mean no offense, but do understand, I'm at least 4 or 5 times the mass.
All, right?
Yes, he is shorter than the rest of us.
I included him in the assessment of smaller folk.
Okay. All right. Well,
How
Be
fast
going.
can you get to the other lift?
it's not that far.
When Meatstick starts charging off, you notice that the leg stride that he's taking as he's running, and showing no signs of slowing down. It'll probably take him about 15 minutes. The time it took you guys to walk here, he's going to run across half a mile to the other side of the entire other side of the cavern.
Find us, be careful!
We're still carrying.
Flopping on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's unconscious. Yes. Adric is completely
You have the worst whiplash
doubly
when he
knocked out.
wakes up.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's me a little sore.
that's awful.
Poor Edric.
Yeah.
Probably had it coming.
Okay, so you see Meatstick take off. What are you all doing? Are you waiting until he gets over there?
I know.
Right, I
Yes,
suppose
he's
we'll wait
late.
and go down at the same time.
Okay. It takes about 15 minutes, but remarkably, and perhaps not surprisingly, he doesn't break stride. When you reach the other side, Meatstick, you do feel your body just sort of recuperating from the run. But again, it takes all of a few moments before it's like, good. And then you step onto the elevator. There's one of these carts that looks like it's kind of slightly overturned. It's filled with dust and whatnot. There's a dead miner slumped against the other side. Looks like he was probably trying to make a run for it when he died.
I look over briefly. Terribly sorry for the intrusion. I just look forward, waiting for the doctor to.
You see, I mean, even from this distance, you can see his form in like the distant haze of the light. You can see Meatstick has taken position.
All right, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. You hit the button, it goes, and it begins to go down, down, down. Meatstick, you're having the same thing. When the thing shudders, this miner's head just rolls off his body and just tips over the side.
Before it tips over to the side, I gently reach in and grab it and spend a few moments trying to put it back on before just throwing it off the end. Apologies.
It's okay. Down. Again, highlighting the eeriness of this place as you go deeper and deeper in this mine. The truth is you're not, in fact, going deeper at all, are you? You're actually approaching the surface as you're moving down and down. And again, the reverberations of that wail that's somewhere in the distance, probably on the edges of the asteroid belt at this point.
Lisa's actually, while we're going down, going to give a little, just sit
Okay.
to the little implant in her.
Your implant activates, and the limited messaging, you feel the connection.
Rip located, approaching.
If ever in danger, alert immediately.
Will do.
Turns off. All right. Amy's expressions just crack me up because every time Jody does something that's kind of, what's she up to? It's like it's like this confined fist shake, like Barrowman.
Both Sam and I are just like this under the table.
I have so much self-control not being insatiably
So this is what happens first. When the elevators reach the bottom, we're going to start with Meat Stick, because when you get to the bottom, Meat Stick, you watch as the horizon of this elevator, as it's coming down, you see 3 jackal-headed creatures waiting for you as this thing goes, and they're just standing there with, looks like these, I forget, they were like a Roman weapon. I want to call them pylons, or I don't remember. They're like spears, basically, these metal spears that they have. As the elevator comes to a stop, it goes, the 3 of them are standing in front of you, and they begin to speak, and says, your cube, as you're holding it outward, you're able to get a basic idea of what they're saying. A lot of their speech isn't literal. It sounds like a lot of it is sort of like emoting growls and insinuations rather. And you're able to piece together a basic sentence structure based off of what they're saying when they're just going, and it says, that one. And he's pointing to Adric on your shoulder. Give us that one.
Hand him over.
Okay. The 2 flanking him come forward, and they both, one takes his legs and the other one takes his arms, and they start taking him back.
Oh, I thought they were gonna rip
And
him.
they
Oh my god.
yeah, they're both at one point, once they get him away from Meat Stick, they let go of one, and they're both just dragging him at this point, each holding a leg and an arm.
I go to follow. A motion to follow them as they bring him along.
The 3rd one, as you walk forward, he steps aside
Okay.
and watches you walk by.
I
as you
continue.
follow.
I continue, and as this is happening, I'm keeping an eye on the other elevator.
The doctor is almost at the exact same level as you.
Do I see another cluster of waiting?
You do. So like if the elevators were on both on the opposite sides, then over here, sort of in the middle, in the halfway point of the elevators, on the other side of the cavern is actually the spot that Rocco saw. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing the gathering, and you see the rip in space-time.
All right. I have no interest in the fate of Adric at this point. I have a new master.
Right.
I am instead now focusing and walking towards the direction of the other elevator, to both rendezvous and to, if anything dangerous begins to occur, I can quickly make my way in their direction.
Okay. As you turn and start walking, you stop because in front of you, coming out of the rock wall, is a flower. Just, it literally, it sort of weaves itself out of the wall and blossoms right in front of you.
Aw.
I instinctually pluck it. I continue to walk.
As you pluck it, you continue to walk, and it starts to fall away like it's made out of sand. And as the sand grains fall, they explode into a cloud of flies and just scatter everywhere.
Disconcerting.
What?
Continue to walk.
Yes, there's nothing logical about what just happened.
Nope. I don't sweat the small stuff.
And you keep walking. So you're making your way towards the doctor, basically?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let us make a quick... Why don't we do this a contest? This will be easier if it's contested. Let's see what we're at. Cool. Oh, here we go. One second. Oh, okay. Actually, it's not a problem. As you're approaching on the other side of the dock, when you're headed towards the doctor, you guys, we'll get to you in a second. You have touched down and you're stepping off the lift. Meanstick, as you're walking, suddenly the temperature drops dramatically and you feel your breath start to escape. And the moment you take a step back, all warmth immediately comes back to you. And you feel like the pounding of your blood in your head all of a sudden begins to lessen. It was almost like your blood was immediately rushing to the surface for a split second. You were just...
I begin to make a wide arc around to feel for the perimeter of this barrier.
As you put your hands out, sure enough, you feel that it's possible that one of these life support beams has malfunctioned in this direction, because as you put your hand out there, you immediately, like, the temperature shift is dramatic. You feel the void of space for a split second. When you pull your hand back, it's, even with your impressive strength, it's just, it takes a second to sort of get the circulation to get back in there. And there's this, even though you've pulled it back and your hand is working fine, there's this aching. Have you ever done that thing where you fling your hand so much that all the blood rushes to your fingertips and then it starts to hurt? It's kind of that sensation for a second.
Okay.
And then it wears off finally.
I'll carefully begin continuing that process, feeling out the perimeters and seeing if there are linking atmosphere domes to actively get in their direction as easy as possible.
Okay, so make a quick survival check. That would be ingenuity and survival. Or no, I think awareness and survival would be more appropriate for this.
All right.
Remember, you got story points.
Oh, I'm going to be using one for this.
Okay.
That's awareness and survival, you said?
Yeah.
So 14, and I'm going to go ahead and use a story point.
To bump that up.
Is that an additional 2d6? How's the story point add to that?
Yeah, usually, oh, sorry, I didn't tell you this. When you're going to add dice, you do it before the roll, but if you do it after the roll, it'll let you, so like if you roll the failure, you can spend a story point to bump the failure to a success.
I'll bump it to a success.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because you only just missed the target number, so you hit it. It's an uncomfortable dance, but it looks like, thankfully, it's only one. Because as you just kind of shift around, you do feel like one of these distant ones. It's created like a small sliver of breathable air where the temperature gets really arctic for a split second, but it's not bad enough. But it is a weird sensation because you're walking this fuzzy, unseen barrier between oblivion and life support.
Right.
But as you kind of scale past that wall, you feel the restoration of the life come back, and the technology envelops you once again, and you're fine. So. You guys reach the bottom of the cavern, and you see what I described. They're all gathered around this rip in space-time.
Sorry, there's no one greeting us right there?
No, it looks like they were much more interested in what Meatstick was bringing down with them. And they're all gathered around the rip.
And we can easily walk there from here?
Yeah. We can just cut to it, in fact, because there's really not going to be anything stopping you guys in between. So it'll be a rendezvous by the time y'all meet up. As y'all are moving through, Meatstick is going to catch up to you guys by the time you've reached. You're going to the outcropping where these creatures are. So again, the setup.
One is missing.
Yeah, when Meatstick approaches, you notice Ardric is not on
Where'd
his
the
shoulder.
lump go?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. The indigenous creatures required his presence.
What?
Oh boy.
Sorry, what?
When I was brought to the bottom of the lift, they requested me to hand over Adric, and I did so.
Right.
What is your request now, Master Doctor?
I'm glad it didn't come to violence, but I'm a bit worried for his safety. I didn't like anything about him, but he was alive.
Cutting you off, Meatstick, you hear a voice, "Step forward," emanating from the group of these armored white jackal creatures that are kind of hunched back with these long necks. They almost look like the Char from Guild War II's. So they have these long necks with these jackal heads and these plates of armor and scales all across it. And a lot of them are still linked together, but there's a very large one. Undoubtedly the leader, guessing by the dress that he has on his shoulders.
Oh, is it the one from the polygram?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's pointing off in he's probably about 70 feet away. But Meanstick, you're able to get a basic idea of what he's saying. The rest of you, it just sounds like...
It appears the gargantuan leader is requesting us to step forward.
Thank you. Right. Okay. Hello, I'm the doctor.
It looks down at you. This thing is an intimidating figure. It stands at probably close to about 9 feet tall. And it's actually enough of size where it's kind of a head taller than Meatstick. It doesn't have the build, but this thing looks like it's an ancient hunter of some kind.
Is the Sonic still working on a language?
You can try to use it, but yes, it looks down at you and says, "You are not like him," and points down to Adric.
He says that in a way I can understand?
You're getting the bits and pieces from your Sonic. Enough that your 9 ingenuity would be able to put together what he's trying to say.
No, I rather hope not. He had bad intentions, although he is still a man.
He is forfeit.
We'd rather he face a different kind of justice. I'm sorry about what the people here did to yours.
Looks at you, Meatstick, and says, "What is justice?"
And bring back through the translator cube as best I can in their direction. Justice, as far as I understand it, is when one crosses the intent of another. The another then crosses them back.
Looks at you and says, "We have justice."
I can't allow you to kill this man. I'm sorry.
He reaches down and picks him up with the ease that Meatstick had and just lifts him up and says, "This creature wanted to kill our god.
We have done everything we could to stop him."
He points at this massive rip in space-time.
Right, is that your god?
No. This is punishment. He must die.
No, but perhaps we could focus a bit more on actually, we're here to help with that.
He kind of cocks his head to the side. He dies. Wound closes.
I'm afraid that's not going to work.
We know our god.
You know that's going to kill your god, right?
He would kill our god.
Yes, but so will punishment.
Can you tell me a bit more about your god? Is it by any chance giant and approaching us and making some lovely vibrating noises?
Very angry.
Would you say angry?
Angry.
Maybe
And
a bit
then
more
he
sad?
lifts Adric up over his head
Oh.
and says, "Now God will be appeased."
Wait, perhaps I can calm your nerves with Sontaran opera.
Make a I don't want to deprive us of this moment, but you're gonna have to make a presence plus convince roll.
Very well. 13.
Initiative.
Initiative.
He's gonna throw this guy through the rift.
Oh
He's not convinced. He shifts. You see the prayer circle breaks as they all like open their arms, and Ardric starts to wake up, and he just goes, "Do we? No, we're good. Okay." And as that's happening, okay. As that's happening, he lifts this thing up, and so this is the way. Get ready, Matt, because here we go. This is the way initiative works in Doctor Who.
I have quick reflexes, by the way.
Oh, that's right. So whatever you're going to choose. So it goes talkers, runners, doers, fighters. So I'm going to need to make a quick chart here. Matt, Gina, and okay. So who is talking? Who's going to try to? The doctor. Okay. The doctor and Sam. Okay.
Of course.
Who?
Okay, and who is doing or running? Is anybody running?
I mean, it depends on how close we are. It's either.
You guys are close. You wouldn't need to run.
I'm not.
'Cause no one's
running.
going to try to bolt. All right, so then I'm guessing doers. What do you guys? Anybody take any actions that aren't combat?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to grab for Adric, and I also have quick reflexes.
Okay, so you're going to make a grab for him.
Yeah.
All right.
As far as doing goes, and with the quick reflexes as well, I'm going to just instinctually step in front of the doctor as a protective measure as I see an aggressive action, just to play bodyguard.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be Jody. You grab it. You grab at this guy. Okay. So he's 9 feet tall and he's lifting this guy over his head.
Oh, okay.
So if you're gonna, so if you want to grab him, you're gonna have to bring him down to your level, or you're gonna have to climb him.
Actually, I'm gonna try something else then.
What are you gonna do? Yeah. I'll let you change it.
I'm going to try a psychic thing,
Oh, really?
which would also be an action. I'm
Okay.
guessing.
What are you trying to do?
I'm just sort of want to blanket in the Jaguar people's direction, just like mental yell, basically stop this.
Okay. It's one of those weird gray lines where you're not sure if that's talker or doer, but I guess you're using psychic power to enter his mind and shout stop.
Yeah, so that's probably a doer.
Okay. No, it's okay. Let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and do that first, and we'll still let that trigger, and then the doctor will go next, and then we'll go down the roll. Darren, what were you gonna do?
Is that combat to dive at him?
I would say that probably actually, yeah, because he's gonna resist it. So yeah, it's not like pulling a lever. So so go ahead, Jody. Tell me what you get.
Ooh, 13. Oh no, 13, 17.
Oh, say 17. Oh shit. He stops. He pauses as he looks down at you. Everyone freezes for a second as the leader stops and looks. And he says, "How do you speak in my head?"
With my head.
And he lowers him. Doctor, if you can talk now if you want. If you want to get your action in. We're technically not in. It looks like we're going to phase out of combat if you succeed here. So what are you doing?
Right, what's your name?
He gives you an imperceptible name that's not even translatable. Your Sonic doesn't have any idea, but you get the basic idea. He's the alpha. He's the leader here.
You're the leader of these people.
Yeah.
You care about their welfare.
He nods.
If one of them does something wrong, you wish probably to determine what happens to them.
Yes.
I ask, as a favor, that you allow us to determine what happens to this man. We have stopped him. We have destroyed the weapon with which he sought to kill your god. We find it to be an evil action, but we have our own ways. In return, we will help to heal this, which is currently threatening to kill your us. We don't want that to happen. We want to fix it, to heal it. Your god is in great danger, but not from him, from this.
Go ahead and make your presence convince roll. Tell me what you get.
Do I get any bonuses on that?
You know, I will give you. It's not really sanctioned in rules, but I really dig the speech, so I'm gonna give you a +2 to your roll.
Yay.
I'm probably going to spend a story point. I only have
Cool.
a base 8 for presence convince, which
Only
probably worked out well. Look,
the doctor is this is the same being that convinced a bunch of Daleks that his jammy Dodger was a bomb. So
thank you. So I've spent a story point to double that. Base of 8. And 11 and 8 more, so 16, 27.
okay. He lowers him to the ground and says, "Heal wound. You have justice."
Thank you. Lovely place you've got here.
You hear the reverberations of the wail again, and all of them look around. That wound is just sparkling, ready to rip space-time in half.
Right, let's see what we can't do about this.
It's not even a roll. As usual, as you approach the proximity of this wound, you see it, and it begins to start slowly closing up. And everyone, all of these creatures are watching spellbound as this wound is beginning. You see like the tendrils of reality reaching out and grabbing hold. It's almost like it's taking its own hands again and holding it together. You're seeing that morphic black cloud, and then you see a beeping going off on your sonic screwdriver like you just received a transmission.
This is my friend. I don't know why I said that in character.
Probably like it, when you see it go off, you're like, oh, I've got mail. But as this thing begins to close up,
I know we don't have much time, but I have every intention of making that call if I can.
yeah, they're all amazed. You all watch this amazing moment as this wound, this is the size of a small building, just from the presence of the doctor holding up the sonic screwdriver at the end of this crevice, his wound begins to finally close up. And everyone, these tribal creatures are just watching it gobsmacked.
Implant.
What's that?
Implant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as it starts to close up, I need actually.
Holding on to you so tightly.
Who has Adric? He laid him down at your feet, right?
Just let him down.
He's just on the ground. Okay.
Yep. I
Okay.
meant to eventually ask you to pick him up, but haven't done that yet, so.
Let's see. Okay, so I think I'm just going to ask for an awareness resolve roll from everybody, except you, Doctor.
Okay.
You got your hands full right now.
Yep.
Awareness resolve.
16.
18.
18.
15.
19.
Okay. The two things that occur to you in the split second where you realize you're in danger is when everyone looks down at the same time because they notice movement from Adric. And what you realize is he's pulled from his vest. You see something in his hand, and he just smiles and he says, "I'll make my own justice." And you hear a plink, and you see a pin go sailing off into the cavern. And you see the top of what must be, you're guessing from as it flips out from underneath his collar, it has to be a grenade. It just goes, and you see this big smile come across his face. People with quick reflexes can go first.
All right. I am going to
Did
rush.
he throw the grenade or? is
No,
it
he's
the pin?
clutching it to his neck.
Okay.
Right, and this is right at the foot of the doctor. correct?
Yes.
I rush forward and grab Adric, and I'm going to attempt to throw him as hard as I can into the open void of space.
I was going to try that with the grenade, but
He goes, you huffed him up. Let's see, what is, well, one round, okay.
Clear and present danger. I know.
Okay. It happens so fast as you see Meatstick leap forward, grab Audric, and just effortlessly toss him off the side. And as he sails, he gets about 10 feet away as he starts to scream. And then there's that gross pop. And then the concussive blast of a grenade going off, not 20 feet away from all of you. It's enough to knock everyone down except for perhaps the Centaurian who's just so rooted. But it knocks you back good, Darren. The blast is dizzying. You lose, like, for a split second, you kind of like lose your equilibrium. you hear the screeches of all of these creatures. The person who is most affected, however, is actually the doctor. As you're sitting there holding your sonic and the thing goes off, the explosion happens just as the rip closes, and then you're aware of a heat wave passing over you. And then,
Can I spend a story point for something?
yes, in just a sec.
Okay.
Oh. You are going to take 7 damage
Hang on.
distributed across your strength and your resolve.
Wait. Can I spend a story point and use my force field?
No, because this is a quick this is sort of like a reactive thing. You'd be able to do this if this was a combat initiative round. However, Amy, you can use a story point to take only half that.
I'm going to do that.
Because if I remember correctly, the doctor's not too good at taking physical damage.
I've only got a total of 8 in resolve and strength.
Oh, that would have probably killed you.
Great. Wonderful.
Oh, shit.
So, round up or round down?
You can round down.
So I'll take 3.
Yeah. But with the concussive blast, you are knocked right off your feet and slam into the ground. These creatures screech, and the next thing that happens is you see, probably not fully understanding what just took place, the chieftain immediately lunges at the doctor with a spear.
Oh no.
Comes at
Do
him.
we have to do combat? Or else we're rolling?
Well, actually, no. Hold on a sec. I forgot to roll damage on the chieftain here.
Thanks to everyone who hated Adric immediately.
What ends up happening here is the chieftain lunges the spear, and as he screeches in rage, and as he starts to bring the spear down, his knees give out. And that's when you're all noticing the damage he's taken is extensive to his lower half of his body. And he pitches forward and drops down and starts screaming at his warriors to mobilize and kill all of you. And it's at that point the entire cavern begins to go, and you guys hear the low rumble, the
rift is closed?
The rift is closed, yes.
I am danger on the implant.
Okay. Received. And that's what's happening.
Okay.
So to make it even more dramatic, we have 15 minutes to wrap the game. So
Let's do this.
yeah, so it's the whole cavern begins to shake as you see these creatures lose their balance. Some of them just run to their chieftain immediately.
I'm also gonna run to their chieftain.
You
But am I
are
wasn't
currently
still on the
looking at your hands. It's like you got a bell ringer to the side of your head.
Yeah.
You're kind of like the ringing in your ears. You're not sure what happened. You think you just closed the rift. You see your Sonic laying a few feet away, and you just kind of weakly grab it. And then you see an Ood's face in your face. It's like if Meatstick is saying something to you, you don't hear it. The doctor's just staring at you, like blankly.
I basically just, with my open hand, kind of gently push the doctor back, like toward the ground for a moment, and just say, "Be still and careful." And I stand over the doctor with, the translator orb in one hand, kind of sparking bits of energy from the front, and the closed fist in the other, just waiting for anything to come at her.
Okay. It takes a few minutes, but then a few moments rather. But as everyone's sort of regaining their consciousness and this place begins to rumble, the chieftain points again, and all 12 of these things begin to charge towards you all.
Okay.
The only thing between them is Meatstick and you guys. And they come.
For initiative?
Yeah, if you guys. So here's the situation. You guys can stay and fight. It sounds like your time is running out. So this is literally going to be a moment where, if you decide not to run, then I'm going to start the clock. And I'm going to let whatever happens happen. So if you guys you'll have to get to the top of this cavern and then get back to the TARDIS. Yeah. So I leave it to you guys. If you
want to run, do it now. The rest of us, we fight.
We fight.
Yes,
I talk.
okay. And I'm not trying to dissuade you from any decision, but just be aware there are 12 tribal warriors.
11.
I cannot
Tell me when I can
outrun
hear again.
9-foot creatures, and miners have tried and failed.
Okay. Okay.
Tell me how long I'm out of it.
Okay.
You're in it right now, but I mean, you're just you're not sure what's happening. So the first round.
I have a plan.
Okay, what's your plan?
Everyone start heading to the elevators as quickly as you can. I'll hold them off. Force field. I'm coming with you, don't worry. Just everyone stand behind me and we back up as quickly as possible. Make sure I don't trip over anything.
The doctor doesn't look like she's capable of running right now.
Meat stick, pick
but-
up the doctor. We need to go.
As you say that, I'm already kind of lifting her up and cradling her in the other arm.
More gently than the last one.
I'm just charging up.
Aye.
You just, as the force field goes up
Yeah.
and they're running, you pass right past Meat Stick. Roar! You still not melt down. That cannon, I'm just gonna say it fires. I just need to know, just make a real quick roll. We're sort of like entering into combat, but just roll. There's really no point in rolling damage with this thing, so just roll. 'Cause-
It's just a warning shot.
oh, are you not shooting
I'm
at
just
them?
going.
Okay, bam! You fire off a shot.
Yeah.
The echoing sound effect of this cannon goes off is the only thing that's louder than the approaching whale.
Oh,
It's
careful, we're in
enough.
a
It's
mine.
enough to get them to pause. As I'm guessing you're backing away as well, because they stop in their
they stop.
tracks.
I look at them and say, perhaps I can calm your nerves with this gun and some Santaran opera. Everyone else, run.
Okay, you guys make a bolt.
Yep.
You guys, this would be where the Doctor Who music starts. Dun, 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 dun. All right, you guys start rushing back towards the elevator.
I will say, with the doctor kind of slumped over the shoulder, third librarian Veleg also notices his feet skidding across the ground as the giant meaty hand of Meat Stick is grabbed into the back of the armor and is dragging him behind me.
It's a peculiar thing. You're watching the range on your weapon change, but you're not moving. How are they getting
the
further?
glory? Glory, where are they going? Glory, glory.
And you get dragged along as Meat Stick just kind of an incredible feat of strength moving a Centauran who refuses to move as he's carrying this man just
Stop
running towards the
shooting at my
elevator.
force field. We need it.
Yeah, the force field, you're running backwards right now using Roko's kind of guiding you guys. As you guys get to the elevator, you are setting the doctor down, I'm guessing, when you get to the elevator as you guys start going up. You lay the doctor down for a second. They start trying to follow up. As the elevator begins to incline, you all hear the strangest noise. And it takes a moment to realize what it is. And suddenly it's the unmistakable sound of the TARDIS materializing. You're hearing that grinding, wheezing sound. And it appears right on top of the doctor and Lisa. And so now, suddenly, the TARDIS is materialized on the platform with all of you.
How big is the platform?
Like I said, it's big enough for all of you in multiple carts
Right,
where they
okay.
were transporting the equipment. Thankfully, on this one, this cart didn't have any equipment. So there's enough here, enough room where it's not a problem at all.
How close are the rest of these jackal creatures?
It looks like they are in a mixture of rage, but it also looks like they've kind of surrendered to the fact that their god is here.
All right.
So they're not giving chase up the elevator, but the clock is ticking. But here's the bad part. This is where things get bad. Because as the TARDIS appears over them, because you've ever seen that in the show where suddenly the TARDIS will appear and then you guys appear inside the TARDIS, almost moments after it appears, it starts to disappear. It
I
goes,
run for the door. I run for the door.
You're in.
you're inside the TARDIS and,
I have quick reflex.
okay, yeah, you want to run out the door?
I want to open the door and yell for everyone to get in.
You guys all are confused as you see the TARDIS begin to fade, and the door opens, and you see Lisa go, "Get it!" And then she fades from existence as the TARDIS just. And you are all now alone on this elevator without the Doctor or Lisa as the thing is just going up, and you're just hearing the.
We're not alone.
We've got another
Can
ship.
I yell into the implant?
You don't have to.
We make a run for the other ship as
Am I
quickly as
awake? Am
possible.
I suddenly in the TARDIS? Is Silly in here? What's happening?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
We have to finish the escape of the
Right,
remaining
of
members of the
course.
party. As you guys, this elevator It's going maddeningly slow, even though it is going quite fast. But as the sounds begin to reverberate across this cavern, it's very clear that this creature, whatever it is, it's here now. When it reaches the top, what's up?
Everyone touch me right now.
Oh,
Do you think that's appropriate at this moment?
Just trust me, okay? For now, I'll allow it. I activate my vortex
Yep.
manipulator.
Atta girl.
1, 2, 3,
Ava as well.
4. Ava's with you. Where are you going?
Ooh.
Go back to my people.
We still have people alive on this planet. Can I quickly?
You can jump.
Yeah. Can I jump to the ship?
Yes.
To not the TARDIS, the one with Brennick.
You wouldn't be able to jump to the TARDIS, but yes, you could.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could jump
I
to the
want to
ship.
jump to the ship.
Okay. Yeah, she says, everybody touch me right now. Everyone, Ava just goes, touches you, and I'm guessing everyone follows suits.
Get
Follows
ready.
suit.
This is gonna tingle a bit.
My master is not present to give me orders.
Your
It's
master
true.
said to keep yourself alive. I don't know what that accent is. I'm just so excited and want to live.
I take his hand and I put it on her. Glory, my friend.
And that is the last words
Your
that pass
master
in
needs
this
your life.
cavern as you all just. And the vortex manipulator, you guys reappear outside, and you see lying at your feet at the bed of this ship, which looks like it's actually been hoisted slightly to the side where now it's in a standing position. You see lying on the ground, picking himself up, is Cillian, who's like, he looks like he's been knocked out cold. He's getting up, and you see Zeeps is unconscious laying next to him. And they're just like, what's happening? And that's when you hear screaming coming from the ship. You see Brennick just going, I don't know if you're leaving, but look! And he points. Behind you guys, as you turn and look over the mountains of this asteroid as it's spinning in space, that distant star and nebula, there's no stars in the sky. You don't see anything. And for a second, it just doesn't make sense. It's complete blackness. Almost like every star in the sky has been swallowed. And then for a moment, you think you see the horizon suddenly shifting in front of you. And it takes just a split second to try to rationalize what it is you're processing right now. And that's when you realize that the entire horizon you're seeing is actually the fluke of a whale no smaller than the size of a planet. The thing is so massive that you can't even make out the curvatures. It's blocking out the entire skyline. And it's the most immense. It would be like if you suddenly turned around and the planet Earth was moving towards you. The immensity of this creature is mind-shattering.
You're saying it's massive.
Hey, that is exactly what I was looking for. And as you're spotting it, its mouth has begun to open. And you see all over this creature are just eons of space garbage that's collected, things that are orbiting it. You see moons being dragged by its flukes. I mean, the thing is a god. It's unbelievable to behold. And for a few moments, you're kind of locked in place seeing this thing. Cillian just goes, fuck.
Some shit.
But it's on the BBC, so that doesn't happen. When the spell breaks, everyone's running into the ship. I'm going to need one last roll for the game as you guys are going to try to stage your escape. I need a technology. Anybody who's got ingenuity and technology.
I'm okay with it.
What's that?
I'm pretty good with it.
Okay, it looks like the ship has power, but it looks like it needs juice to
Spending
blast off.
another story point to add dice. Can I borrow your dice?
As you get into the cockpit, you see they're freaking out because the asteroid
I have a higher
lurches
ingenuity as
suddenly
well.
from the
Do you?
gravitational
Do you
force
want
of
to
this
do it,
whale.
or do you want to assist
No,
me?
I have a higher ingenuity, you have a higher tech. We're the same.
Okay.
But I could assist and then we can get the thing.
How is Zeeps okay to do anything?
Zeeps is currently rocking back and forth and going, oh my god, oh my god. So make your roll.
I have some technology and I have 2 story points.
Oh, I'll let you give her, if you want, you can give her the story
Please.
points.
I'll give her the story.
Okay, cool. I'll let you burn the story points. There's actually, you can do that. That's actually something.
So I add another dice?
Add 2 dice. You can add 2 more dice.
Two more dice, please?
Yeah,
Well, if it's 2 story points, is
No,
that
no, no.
4 dice?
that's 4 dice
Yeah,
total.
yeah, I already rolled 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's after the first story point, it's 2 more.
Okay.
It's 1 more die per story point.
All right, so in an epic moment, you need a 30. Did you go past 30?
No,
You didn't?
I didn't.
What did you get?
24.
24?
But he gave you 2 story points and you only spent 1, so you could use the other one to
No,
bump
she
up your
spent
level of
both.
success.
She rolled
No,
6.
she spent 1 of hers and she spent 1 of his.
But he gave you 2.
Yeah, do.
Okay. You hit the afterburners on this thing. It starts powering up, and the ship goes and takes off and starts to power forward, lurching forward. And you see Brennan go, "You're doing it! We're gonna get away!" And then the engines, and you guys go sucked back into the gaping maw of this god creature, disappearing into the black oblivion.
Be
of
brave,
this-
men. This is the moment we go down with the ship.
Yeah.
It's like the Great Krill Parade disaster of Ort 27 all over again.
You guys
my captain.
vanish into the blackness as this whale opens its mighty jaws. Doctor, as you're coming to, you're trying to make sense of what's just happened. You're aware that Lisa is jumping up and down, going, "No, no," screaming at somebody, "You've got to go back, you've got to go back."
What the hell did you do?
And as you kind of look up, it takes you a moment, and then you recognize the blonde curls and a familiar face as she looks at you and says, from the controls of the TARDIS, that she smiles at you and says, "Hello, sweetie."
What
And
have you...
then we have to end because we're out of time.
Huh?
Please kill her. Please kill her.
So we have to crash the end of that show. That's funny, it's because Matt and I had this great thing planned out for you guys, but we got rushed into doing like,
Hey, it works out.
hey, it worked out. So yeah, Sax, did you want to make an announcement real quick?
Yeah, I don't know what this is going to do for your little voice amplifier. Sorry, everybody. So we did make our goal. So, so we're going to be giving away, we're going to do 4 polls in the chat room right now. The first 3 are going to be for these awesome mugs, and then the last one will be for the signed comics along with a signed note from the cast. So those polls will be happening now. We'll contact you in chat about that one because they probably won't come through before the end of this show. And also, if you are a winner, I'll be reaching out to you on Monday. So be around Twitch on Monday because I do not have the bandwidth to hit all 50 of you today. I should also say we're only about $700 from our global goal of $10,000 for
Wow.
826LA.
Oh, that's
I have a
fantastic.
weird feeling our next show with the Critical Role cast will probably take care of that. But
You have a show called Critical Role.
yeah, I don't know what it is though. All right, so,
I should leave the jokes to Brian. I shouldn't
yeah,
do that.
no, he's here.
I know, I should.
But so we're gonna wrap up pretty quickly. But everyone, tell us where we can find you, and then we're gonna go to the card for just a second when we set that up, and we'll be right back. And of course, this show is every Friday from 12 to 3.
12 to 3.
Heck yeah.
Real quick, I just want to thank Matt and Darren for joining us. Darren, it was
Thank you for
such
having us,
a
guys.
pleasure having you back. Matt, thank you for
Anytime.
being able to give us some of your time. Hopefully you
yeah.
can jump in again at some point. We'll see.
Yeah.
You're a busy man. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
so what's gonna happen?
I know.
Yeah, that's taking the game in a direction I was not planning.
Dead.
So go ahead if you guys want
I
to.
did roll 30, which is the
No,
hardest
no.
one.
As any DM will tell you, you just gave birth to a whole new storyline. So let's go ahead and just go down the row and tell us who you are and where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Sam Delev. You can find me on Twitter at Tchaikovsky.
Hi, I'm Gina DeVivo. You can find me on Twitter at Ginasaurus with 2 S's at the end.
I'm Jody Hauser, and you can find me on Twitter at Jody_Hauser.
I'm Amy Dallin, and you can find me at Enthusiamy.
I'm Matthew Mercer. You can find me at Matthew Mercer.
Darren DePaul. You can find me on the internet.
Thank you so much to everyone who supported 826LA.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks so much, everybody, and stay.
thank you,
Thank you.
Eric!
Stay whimsical, guys.
Eric!